What kind of stuff will you find at the yard store? Anything from hardware to helmets. If your daughter needs luggage or your son needs camping gear, the best place to look for it is the yard. The yard has so much stuff you can spend days here. Work clothes, motors, aluminum, steel. It's all mixed together, but they'll give you a deal. Tools, they got them. All sizes and kinds. The yard's just chock full of all sorts of finds. Some of it's surplus or been used before. Yet you hear folks exclaim as they're leaving the store, "We found it at the yard!" When your job requires precision tools or you need an extra sleeping bag, where should you go? To the yard. If your boat needs a tarp or you're hunting nuts and bolts, where will you find them? At the yard. The yard store has a lot of stuff nobody else carries at prices nobody else can beat. Toolboxes, work clothes, foam rubber, and steel. It's all mixed together, but they'll give you a deal. Some of it's surplus or been used before, but you hear folks exclaim as they're leaving the store,
"We got it at the yard!"
What kind of stuff do you find at the yard store? Next year's coat at last year's prices. Saws and shovels, drills and vices, precision tools, tarps and hose, luggage, vinyl, surplus clothes. Actually, the yard has so much stuff you could spend days here. Acres and acres of hardware and steel. What you want's in here somewhere, and they'll give you a deal. Now, some of it's surplus or been used before, yet you hear folks exclaim as they're leaving the store,
"We finally found it!"
At the yard!
What makes prices so low at the yard? When the yard makes a purchase, the yard's buying big. Would you believe they got thousands of this thingamajig? Now, you may not want one, but somewhere out there, there's a fella who wants not just one, but a pair. There's no place else like it. They admit it's a mess, but you'll see for yourself that the yard charges less. Bring a friend, bring a lunch. Some folks come for the day, and we hear them exclaim as they're driving away,
"I got it for less at the yard!"
What kind of stuff do they sell at the yard store? Everything from O-rings to D-rings, from U-bolts to high bolts. Now, if you're looking for work clothes, these aren't quite designer, but durable, yes, for the price is no finer. Coveralls, parkas, helmets, and boots, lots of outer attire. Sorry, no three-piece suits. The reason folks come here is quite easy to guess. They found out for themselves that the yard charges less. You could come to the yard and spend most of the day, and we'd hear you exclaim as you wandered away,
I knew I'd find it at the yard!
Why would anyone shop at the yard store? Because they know that their dollar is likely to buy more. I mean, this place got everything, like camp gear for enjoying life's simpler pleasures. Toolboxes, screwdrivers, tape and tape measures, hammers and levels and solders and files, and I swear I saw spring clamps just over 2 aisles. Now, the yard's not a junk store. There's good stuff to be found. You could find anything if you just looked around. So if you need something strange and you've looked long and hard, don't give up yet. Just come to the yard.
725 East Central.
What kind of stuff do you find at the yard store? Everything from steel pipe to plastic buckets. They get truckloads and truckloads of stuff all the time. Some of it's new and some past its prime, but they get a lot of it, and that lowers the price. They'll have to go real low to sell this device. Some folks call it surplus, to others it's treasure. To people like me, the yard store's pure pleasure. When I have the time, I come out for the day, and you'll hear me exclaim as I'm driving away, "I found just what I wanted at the yard!"
725 East Central.